Hi guys, this is Ms. Sirica. I'm going to show you how to type scientific notation into your calculator, and I have all these different calculators to show you. So you can just scroll ahead and find the calculator that's your own. I'm also going to use this handout that you'll have, and we'll type one problem in and you can check to see that you get the same answer. Okay, so the scientific notation, we'll learn about scientific notation in class, but you should have already learned that in math. Who knows though what you got to last year. So 5.04 times 10 to the 5th is scientific notation. That means move the decimal 5 places to the right. It's 504,000. We need the calculator to know that that's one number. That's not two numbers multiplied together. So the way we do that with a graphic calculator is we use the EE key. So looking at the calculator, I would type in 5.04 and see where the EE is. That's what we're going to use to tell the calculator that this is one number, not two numbers multiplied together. So that's above the comma and it's orange or yellow, so we have to hit second. And what shows up is one E. Don't hit it twice so you get two E's. We're done with that. And then the exponent that the problem says to type is a 5. So you are not typing a 10 at all. That E represents times and 10 raised to the 5th. Okay, in the problem we're going to divide by 4.1 times 10 to the negative 12. Hit divide. It's hard to do with my left hand. 4.1. Second comma gives you your E. And now the negative, make sure on your calculator you find the negative, not the minus button, or you'll get an error. Negative 12, that's a really small number. Negative 12 means move, times 10 to the negative 12 means move the decimal 12 places to the left. So on your calculator you should have 1.2293 E17, that means 2.1 times 10 raised to the 17th. The calculator says E17, you need to know that means times 10 raised to the 17th. E is not a number. In this case, E is a number in a different case, but in this case, E needs to be replaced by times 10. Okay, so that's your graphic calculator. Okay, gentlemen, for this calculator, this is the Casio, one of the Casios. The two Casios I have actually are very different, ironically, but I'm going to show you how to type scientific notation in with this calculator. We're going to use this example that's on your paper that you have and type in 5.04 times 10 to the 5th. That's one number, that's not two numbers. Times 10 to the 5th means move the decimal 5 places to the right, so that's 504,000. You're not going to type 504,000 because sometimes we're going to have times 10 to the 23rd, and that would be ridiculous to type all those zeros in there. So you have to learn how to use your calculator. So on this calculator, you hit 5.04, and it has a times 10 to the X button. We're going to use that because the calculator now knows that that's one number, not two numbers multiplied together. And then the problem says divide by 4.1 times 10 to the negative 12. So I hit divide. 4.1 times 10. Now we've got to find the negative button because that's a minus. Here's the negative. That'll make a difference. You'll get an error if you hit a minus. Equals. And you should have approximately 1.2, and then see all the way across here times 10 to the 17th. Don't forget to look for that at the end. We're going to learn where to round. You're not going to want to always write all these digits. We'll learn rounding rules later, but that's how you use this calculator. Okay, this calculator is my favorite, the Casio. This specific Casio I think is the easiest to use. We're going to type this number in scientific notation in there. So the calculator needs to know that this is one number, it's not two different numbers. In fact, it's 5.04 with the decimal moved 5 places to the right. And the bottom one is the decimal is moved 12 places to the left. So it's a really small number. It's not 4 different numbers. Okay, so this is how we do it. 5.04 EXP on this calculator. Some of them have an EE. This has an EXP, but it shows up as a single E. And then that represents times 10, and you type raised to the 5th. You don't type raised to the 5th. It knows it's raised to the 5th. So that's the way it should look. Okay, and then we're going to divide by 4.1 times 10 to the negative 12. Divided by 4.1 EXP. Now find your negative, not your minus. If you hit minus, that'll give you an error. So hit negative 12 equals. And so this is the way it'll show up. The answer is, this is rounded, 1.2 times 10 to the 17. We'll learn rounding later. So 1.2, and way over here, times 10 to the 17. You have to be on the lookout for that. Okay? That's how you use this calculator. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to use this calculator. There's two of them that are different colors, so I'm just going to pick one of them. They come in a whole bunch of colors. So we're going to learn how to type scientific notation in. Here's the problem that we're going to do. 5.04 times 10 to the 5th is a number in scientific notation. That 5 means move the decimal 5 places to the right. We're not going to do that because sometimes our exponent is going to be 23, and that would be ridiculous to have that many zeros typed in the calculator, and we tend to make errors when we do that. So we need to know how to do scientific notation. So here we go, 5.04 and times 10 to the 5th is going to be entered with this EE key. And so it's above the x to the negative 1, and it's white or gray, so we have to hit the second button. This is what it looks like on the calculator, 1E. And then the exponent was 5. Notice I didn't type a times or a 10, I just typed E5. That means 5.04 times 10 to the 5th. Okay, then we're going to divide it by 4.1 times 10 to the negative 12. Divide by 4.1, second, EE gives you 1E. Now find the negative, not the minus button. If you hit negative, you'll get an error. So negative 12. Enter. You should have 1.2, a whole bunch of decimal places. We'll learn how to round later. Times 10 to the 17th. So you have to be on the lookout for that little times 10 to the 17th on your calculator, if this is your calculator. Okay, give it a try, see if you can get it to work. If you get a different exponent, you've done something wrong. Thanks. Okay, I'm going to show you how to use this calculator if this is your calculator. I'm going to do scientific notation. I'm going to do this problem right here. 5.04 times 10 to the 5th, which is a number in scientific notation. It's not two numbers multiplied together. So we have to learn how to do this on our calculator, because in chemistry we're going to sometimes have 10 to the 23rd. We're not actually going to move the decimal place 23 places. We're just going to put it in the calculator that way. So 5.04. Now for scientific notation, your EE key is right here. When you hit that, this is the way it looks on very few calculators, but on this calculator, that means times 10, and the problem says times 10 to the 5th, so you're going to hit 5. That is not 5.04 raised to the 5th power. That is 5.04 times 10 to the 5th. This is the way it looks on this calculator. It's pretty rare, but you have to recognize your calculator. Now we're going to divide by 4.1 times 10 to the negative 12. Divided by, it switched it, but it won't always switch it to normal notation, especially if it's a huge or small number. Dividing by 4.1, EE means times 10, and it's to the negative 12, so you're going to hit the negative, not the minus. Hit the minus, you'll get an error, 12. And the answer is 1.2. Whole bunch of decimal places, we'll round them, we'll learn how to round later. And that 17 is not raised to the 17th, it's 1.2 times 10 to the 17th. So you have to recognize when you see that on your paper, you write 1.2 times 10 to the 17th. Okay, give it a try. Okay, I'm going to show you how to use this calculator. If you own this calculator, it's not my favorite just because there's so many steps that are required to do scientific notation, but it's doable, you just have to learn it. here's the problem we're going to do. That is two numbers that are each in scientific notation. So chemistry has a lot of big and small numbers, so we have to learn how to type them properly into the calculator and recognize what they look like when the answer comes out of the calculator in scientific notation. So 5.04 times 10 to the 5th is what we're typing in. So a lot of calculators have an EE or an EXP button. Would help if I turned it on. 5.04. You actually have a times 10 to a power, but the problem is this calculator does not, this is not actually scientific notation. This is just multiplying a number by 10 to a power. It's hard to explain, but if I do this problem without parentheses, you won't get the right answer. And the other thing that is odd is that exponent, that cursor stays up high, so you need to get the cursor down low by hitting forward. Okay, so I'm going to do this problem without the parentheses. Now I'm going to divide by 4.1 times 10 to the negative 12. Divided by 4.1 times 10. Make sure you use a negative, not a minus. Negative 12. Enter. All right, this number is not the answer, 1.2 times 10 to the 17th. That would be a large number. That means move the decimal 16 places to the right. It would be a very large number, lots of zeros at the end. The calculator just gave us a very small number. So this is what happens when you don't use parentheses with this calculator. None of the other calculators need parentheses. Let's do it with parentheses now. Times 10, hard to see. To the 5th, close parenthesis. Oh, see, we gotta delete. We need to advance forward and then close parenthesis and divide it by 4.1 times 10 to the negative 12. Close parenthesis. We have to go forward to close the parenthesis. Enter. Oh, brother. Hold on. See, I don't love this calculator. I closed parenthesis and didn't have a beginning parenthesis. I'm not going to restart. I'm going to insert, second, insert the first parenthesis. You can't close parenthesis without having a starter parenthesis. Okay, so now we have the right answer. Luckily with this calculator, you can scroll in and insert. That's a nice feature. But see how the answer is different? 1.2 times 10 to the 17. That's the correct answer. So you just have to make sure that you're using parentheses. Okay, thanks.